Hello, my name is Anurag, and today I'm going to work on the third experiment of Unix Lab, which is to work on the looping control statements in shell program. So the first part of the question is write a shell script to print the Fibonacci series. So I have written the program here. First, we are taking input from the user as how many terms we are going to print in the Fibonacci series. Then we are using for loop here to calculate each term in the Fibonacci series. Uh, uh, then after that, we are checking if the number of if that term is less than 2 or not. If it is first term or second term, then what will happen, the output will be just 1, and if it is greater than that, then we are going to calculate the terms. But in order to do so, we have initialized two variables, which is n1 and n2, whose values is 1 and 1. So to calculate the ongoing term, we are adding the two numbers. We are adding the two numbers. Then we're displaying that output, and after that we are swiping out the values. We are replacing the value of n with n1 with n2 and n2 with c, and the loop goes on. So moving on to the working part, which is so until the number of terms. So I have given the number of terms as 8. So there are 8 terms, and this is the Fibonacci series for 8 term. So moving on to the next part, which is write a shell script to find the number of to find the sum of the following series. So this is the series given. First, what we are doing is, first we are asking the user to enter the limit, enter the last limit of the series. Then we are using while loop to calculate each term squares, like 1 square, 3 square, or 5 square, and so on. And after that we are then we are adding those numbers. So in the process, it goes like, first we have created the temporary variable, then we have calculated the nth square. Then after that we have added um, that output into the sum variable. Then after that, what we are doing is, we are decrementing the nth number by 2 to create this number series, like 1, 3, and 5. And after that, when the loop gets over, that is when the number becomes equal to 0 or greater than, it becomes equal to 0 or lesser than 0, then the output is displayed, which will be the sum value of sum. Sorry. Now the output of the program is, see, let's suppose I print the last value as 6. So the sum of the series is 56. So moving on to the next part, which is write a shell script to check the given number is Armstrong or not. So basically, what is an Armstrong number? Armstrong number is just the sum of cube roots of each digit, which is same as to the number itself. Let's go on to the program. So first, what we have done, we have asked the user to enter a number. Then uh, then we have stored that number into another variable x. Then we have initialized 3 different values, sum, r, and n. Then then we have calculated until the x is greater than 0. Then the loop will go on, in which what we are doing is, first extracting the last digit of that number. Then we are cubing that number in and storing that into variable n. Then we are then we are storing that number, that cube number, into a sum. And after that, what we are doing is, we are then dividing that the initial number, which is x, by 10 to remove that digit. And after that, the loop goes on. And what we are doing after that is we are checking if the output, that is after the cubing thing, if it is equal to C or not. If it is equal to C, then it is an Armstrong number, and if it is not, it is not an Armstrong number. Moving on to the working part. See. Yeah, enter a number. Let's see, 153 is an Armstrong number, we know that. And if I enter it as uh, 234, then the number is not an Armstrong number. Moving on to the next part, which is write a shell script to check whether the given number is palindrome or not. So what is a palindrome number? Palindrome number is basically the is same number reading from forward or backward. All the digits are the same. Let's move on to the program, which is first we have asked the user to enter a number. Then what we are doing is first we are storing that number into another variable. Then we are initializing one variable rn, which whose value is 0. Then what we are doing is we are checking if that number is greater than 0 or not. If the initial number is greater than 0, then we are then then we are performing these many operations, in which first we are taking out the remainder of the number by dividing it by 10. Then we are then dividing the number itself by the original number itself by 10. Then we are then we are storing the then we, sorry first we are then multiplying that number, the initial number which is stored in which is stored in rn by 10. And then we are adding the the value of d with the value of temp to create the reverse of that number. And then after, if it is after that entire operation is done, what we are doing, we are checking if those numbers are equal, if the initial number and the number which we have obtained is equal or not. If it is equal, then the number is palindrome. If it is not, then it is not, then the number is not palindrome. So moving on to the working part. So enter a number. Let's suppose I enter 123. So this number is not palindrome. But if I enter the number as 12321, so the number is a palindrome number. Moving on to the next question, which is write a shell script to print the prime numbers between the given ranges. So what is a prime number? Prime number is basically a number which has only two prime factors, and it can be divisible by only one or itself. So moving on to the program. So we are asking the user to enter the last limit, which is n. So then we are storing the value into variable and then we have used one then we have used a variable I to store the value, the first value, which whose it is I, 1. And we are displaying the numbers after that by performing some operations. So we are first testing if that the value of I is lesser than value of n or not, because we do not want the number to come in decimals, right? So after that, first we are assigning the value of I to the variable as m, and then so goes for for b, c and j, we are setting the value as 0, 0 and 1. Then after that we are testing if the number of if the value of j is less than the value of m, until if it is, then the loop goes on. Then we are calculating the value of c, and so goes for the c, and we are checking if the value of c is equal to 0 or not. And if it is equal to 0, then we are checking performing this operation, and after that checking and after that condition is checked, then after that we are performing another operation in which we are incrementing one value, we are incrementing the value of j by 1, and after the entire after the entire operation is done, then first we are checking if the number, if the count, that is if the number of prime factors which is greater, which is equal to 2 or not, because if the number is let's suppose 5, then it can be only divisible by 1 and 2, that means two factors. So then we are checking it here, and if it is yes, then we are displaying that number as a prime number, and if it is not, then we are skipping that number and moving on to the next number. Now going on to the working part, which is sorry, yeah, enter the last limit. Let's suppose I enter the last limit as 60. The output displayed, so these are the prime numbers which are the output. So the, moving on to the next part, which is write a script to sort elements of an array ascending and descending. Okay, so first moving on to the program. First what we have done is we have asked the user to enter the size of an array. Then we have entered the numbers into the array one by one. Then after that what we are doing is asking the user if the asking a user a choice that if the array should be sorted in ascending order or not, or descending order. According to the user's choice, we are performing the operation, and we are swapping out the numbers accordingly, and creating and displaying the output array. So for the ascending we have done the operation here, and for descending the operation performed is here. Now moving on to the working part. So enter the number of elements. Let's suppose I enter the array size as 5. So first we are entering the first element. Okay, the first element is 34, second is 32, 177, and 54. So if I want to display that in ascending order or descending, I want to display in the ascending order, which is 1, 32, 34, 54, and 77, which is correct. So this would be the output. So thank you.